Welcome back, guys. What is going on here? Shooting in the DC, an Afghan asylum seeker, migrant, save our heroes, someone who worked for the CIA actually, and did probably countless of operations with the special forces in Afghanistan, and because of that, was brought into the United States out of a program that they initiated after the Biden administration basically just out of nowhere bluntly pulled out all the US forces from Afghanistan, leaving all their allies there to die. So there was I would say, a noble initiative to save some of their allies that would undoubtedly be left for the worst possible fate for them and for their families because they helped America and now America is leaving them behind. So America decided to bring many of them to the United States. And one of these guys is here in this image attacking the National Guard in Washington, D.C. Now, as a former Special Forces IDF officer, operator, you call it whatever you want, that was in a unit that was mostly in charge of counterterrorism and hostage rescue, along other many things that I did in my military service in the IDF, I'm going to try to help you understand what I think went wrong with this image. But before I start, I first want to say that I hold the US forces, armed forces, the National Guard to the utmost of respect and my condolences for the families of the murdered brave US heroes. And also, great job for the strong, brave American men and women, the armed forces that went and took down this terrorist and stopped his killing rampage. I just want to put that on the side. I know that when you're in the battlefield, things can look very different, and it's very easy to criticize when you're sitting, in a fluorescent light under the lights in a room and coming and saying, "Here's I see what happened wrong." And I'm not pretending to be any better than anyone, but there's something very, very wrong with this image. And why is this guy running? Because as you can see in this picture, the guy in the black is the Muhammad, one of the many Muslims that came from Afghanistan that decided he want to go and kill Americans. The guy on the left is an American armed serviceman holding a pistol and running away from the guy. And I made a picture here pointing where the weapons. One guy had a revolver, one guy have probably a Glock. I'm not so sure which weapon he had. And instead of facing the enemy and taking him down, he's seen in this picture clearly running away. And I know some people might not feel comfortable talking about this, but we're going to talk about this. We're going to break this down. I'm going to tell you what I think went wrong there and what I think could have went better. This is something that was brought to me by Leah and other members of my Patreon community that told me that there is some kind of a debate in the US going on right now. Should they have a bullet in the chamber? Should they not? Because it looks like this guy is running away because he's loading his gun and he sees the guy coming right now shooting and he's trying to take cover, which is a very human instinct. Go and load your gun quickly and then come back and take him down, because if you're shot down, then you can't help and save anyone. So first of all, take care of your own safety and then go and do that. But is that the right thing to do in that situation? Probably not. In this video, there's going to be quite a lot of things that I'm going to share, interesting stuff, including a very fun video at the end. But let's start with this image. In the IDF and in the Secret Service in the IDF and in the personal government protection units, they don't necessarily walk with a bullet in the chamber. Sometimes you do. But the whole idea is that they train you so much that when you pull the device from your holster, you're already loaded when you pull it. So you do like this, basically, and then in that move, it already got loaded because the chamber went back, grabbed the bullet, and went in. So the wasting time on putting a bullet in your chamber is almost, if you train, probably, it's literally non-existent. And they even train you more with a pointing technique, which is based on the, call it hand and eye coordination If you look right now at an object in your room and I tell you just point at it and you point, most likely, if you don't think about it, and then you look as if there was a laser coming out of your finger, that your finger is going to be pointing exactly at that item because your brain, your primal brain, knows exactly where to point at before the rest of the calculations start calculating. So a lot of time this pointing is going to be quite accurate. So when they train the special forces and combat soldiers, a lot of time trust that instinct of load and point immediately, and if you need, release a bullet straight away. So by him running and taking cover, if that suspect would have actually wanted to take him down, he would have taken him down. So running away from someone who's running with a loaded gun is not going to help you. You might as well want to either go down on the ground. Maybe sometimes you can fall back as you load your pistol and then take a few rounds as you're falling back. That way you reduce your height, you change your directions. He tries to aim to the mass and suddenly you fell on the ground, fall sideways and do it. There's quite a lot of ways that they teach you. And also when you do competitive shooting, you see these guys, they practice these things. But running away, turning your back to the enemy while trying to load your gun is undoubtedly not the right thing. If you have a jam in your gun, you're probably better off trying to run towards the enemy than running away. I'll show you a video of how it looks like, and then we can talk a little bit about it. So you saw here, look again. He's seen running away here as the guy comes, and he's probably trying to load his gun. So again, I don't want to put myself in his shoes. Maybe if he would have stayed there and loaded it and took a bullet immediately at the suspect, he could have probably saved, because I think that suspect just offloaded a lot of his weapon into the victims. With that said and done, they did neutralize him, so he could have probably killed way, way more. So like I said, I don't want to take any of the respect and honor that they deserve for doing what they did, but there's definitely something that we see that could have probably done better here. So let's now talk about what happened. And I think it's very important also to be responsible in how we say it, because there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, and it can go sideways very, very fast. First of all, we see that Donald Trump came with quite a crazy announcement saying, I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden illegal administration. Only reverse migration can fully cure the solution. He's not wrong about that, especially when it comes to Muslim migration. When you have a Muslim migration that their goal is to enter your system from inside and abuse your system, abuse its weaknesses, and then infiltrate and use your own weaknesses, which they see as a weakness. Human rights, Western values in the Muslim world often are seen as a weakness. Why do you value human life? Why do you value, women and children? Why are you protecting women and children? They're here to serve the strong. So the strong male usually is going to have everything at his service. And Western civilization comes and says, no, we're here to protect everyone because we're all created by God and everybody have equal right. So the stronger you are, the more responsibility you have often to actually work harder and help protect the poor and the innocent and the fragile and the women and the children, etc., etc. So with that in mind, yes, once you allowed Islamic illegal migration, in general, Islamic migration into your society as a Christian country, you're kind of screwed. It's a ticking bomb until they come and will take over. And usually it's a hostile takeover. Like it or not, it is what it is, guys. And you can argue as much as you want, but I just finished a conversation with Frank Steven, the guy from Nigeria. He have a great YouTube channel, and he was just explaining the situation, how crazy it is in Nigeria, and what is happening between the tension between Islam and Christianity. So that's another topic. Now, Donald Trump is also very upset, and he's going on with, Biden's auto pen termination. Any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect, which is the responsible thing to do. Let's call it what it is. If you know that the president of the United States was so fragile, mentally incapable and unstable, and he was used by the administration around him, as long as he's in power, guys, let's keep him in power. We got an opportunity here. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. You just tell him sign, he signs. And people were paying money and lobbying to go there and have a meeting with him because they can make him sign things that will literally affect policies, economy, and the wealth of families in the United States. So if you find something like this happened, that's terrible. That is serious, serious accusations that absolutely need to reverse back and investigate. And I think people should go to jail. That's like serious, serious allegations. And just the fact that America have brought herself to the point that the most important nation in the world, in charge of the strongest arsenal that can destroy and devastate planet Earth, and a nation that stability actually affects the stability in the world. So when America is strong and stable, the world is stable. And then having a president that is undoubtedly unqualified to do his job, like Biden was towards the end of his candidacy, and leaving him there because it's an auto pen, I think that is one of the biggest modern democracy, Western civilization betrayal that you can have. But that's just my opinion. Again, everything that I'm saying here is based on my opinions, and I'm just trying to understand what is happening here. So this guy here, his name is Laknawal, had previously worked in Afghanistan with the CIA. According to the agency director, John Redcliffe, he was granted asylum in April by the Trump administration. Multiple law enforcement officials told the CNN. Trump called the shooting an act of terror in remarks for his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach. Okay. Suspect worked with the CIA and Afghanistan agency. Director says the suspect in the shooting of two National Guards members previously worked in Afghanistan with the U.S. government and CIA. So we're talking about someone that knows how to handle firearms, someone that's seen combat. Rahmanullah Lakanwal. Rahmanullah means the mercy of God. Lakwanal, who allegedly opened fire on two Western Virginia National Guard members in Washington, D.C., had served an Afghan partner in the CIA, and etc., and etc. Now, there's a lot of backlash about kicking all these Save Our Hero programs, sending them back. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy have eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow you a system. He said that, okay? Let's try to understand what is happening here. There's a lot of people in Afghanistan that are getting quite upset right now also. And it might sound so American, like funny, like how dare they get upset? But remember, these were your allies. These were the ones that risked their life and put them on the line to stand with America and help America achieve its goals in Afghanistan. And in their eyes, also help themselves free Afghanistan from the Taliban and the grasp of radical Islam. So they're coming and saying this is not fair. We were told that we will go through this program, save our allies, and you can help save us. We helped you when you needed us. We need you now. And now you're threatening to cancel it all. There was a lot of, Tim Kennedy and a lot of other, Green Berets and Delta Force that worked there, and Navy SEALs that kept vouching for their interpreters and for their agents that work with them and said, these guys are like brothers to us. They saved our lives and we want to save them. We feel like we owe them. But here comes the problem, and I just had this conversation. You know what? Before we jump into that, there's another interesting video that you might want to watch, which make things even more complicated.
Just in, we have a Fox News alert from Brooke Taylor. You won't believe this. DHS is confirming that an Afghan national was arrested Tuesday after posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb with an intended target of the Fort Worth area. Mohammed Dawood Al-Okazai is charged at the state level with making a terroristic threat. According to DHS, listen to this. He came to the United States as part of Operation Allies Welcome. So here you have it. This happened Tuesday. Texas Department of Public Safety. This is a second Afghan national, second one this week. Operation Allies Welcome. He had a terror plot. We know it comes the same week that deranged individual, that alleged assassin, took out 2 of our heroic National Guard, came here on the same program, Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we were assured time and time again by Mayorkas, by Jen Psaki, by Joe Biden himself was safe and secure. But here we have a second data point in 1 week that it was not safe, it was not secure. And we've got to look very hard at this program as President Trump is vowing to make change.
So here's the thing, guys. I think we should be very careful, first of all, to trust media and politicians because they knew about these threats for a very long time. These threats were existing for a very long time. It's not the first time that they can find, attempts that are happening from radical jihad, Afghanis, doesn't matter where from. But all of a sudden, because of what happened and because it probably can make the other administration look bad, then they're going to sing on that. And that's what politicians do. And it doesn't matter which side of the fence. We don't like that. With that said and done, there is a serious problem here. And I just had a conversation with, Frank from Nigeria, where he said something interesting about, I told him that one of my problems is that as much as I try to warn the world about the danger of Islam, I have a lot of good Muslim friends. And sometimes I think if they will watch some of my videos, they might get really offended or really kind of, disappointed because, come on, man, you're like talking so much bad about our religion and warning people about us. And, they're good people. I have Muslim friends that are just genuinely good people. Just had one of them in my house the other day. One of my best friends. And Frank said it very clearly and very good. He says the problem is that you're always worried when you have a Muslim friend, let's say, from Afghanistan, from anywhere that came. What will happen if people all of a sudden will come to kill me? Some ISIS, some Al-Qaeda will start coming to kill me, or just some radical religious living in my neighborhood. A, will he call me and warn me, hey, listen, they're coming for you? B, will he just sit silent and let it happen? C, will he actually even join them? Now, we've seen in Gaza, we've seen in Syria, the betrayal that happened to the Jewish community, was first and foremost from the people that were the closest to them, the people from the Muslim neighborhood villages that they helped. The people who got slaughtered on October 7 were the ones that actually helped the Gazans. Many of them were as if they're friends. They were very, very left-wing Israelis who had beautiful hearts, and they got betrayed by the ones that they helped, the one that they drove to hospitals, the one that they did bring them to work with them and thought that they were family to them. They were the ones who actually brought the insurgents into their houses and, burned them alive and these things. Same thing in Syria. The Muslims, the Bedouins in Daraa that were seeking shelter under the Druze during the Assad regime and was working with the Druze, living among them, were the ones to actually lead the forces into their villages, poison their water wells, cut down their communication, and betray them and kidnap their women and children. So that fear is, there. You help it or not, call someone Islamophobe or not, that fear is there. Now, when you bring thousands of combat-trained Muslims from Afghanistan into the United States, first of all, you really need to make sure that you have very good vetting, very good, because some of them might be, abandon the ways of their past, former Muslims maybe, or people that really, really hate radical Islam and want to stand and, real allies. Some of them probably are like that. But how do you know that some of them are not? How do you know that some of them are not sleeping cells, soldiers of opportunity, mercenaries? So you brought them to the United States. I don't think that they've done vetting. With all due respect, I work in security quite a lot in the special forces, other organizations all around the world. And I worked a lot in America also. So I was very close to American forces and security. And with all due respect, Americans, your security is shit. Like literally shit. Your special forces are good. Your armed forces are good. Your military is good. Your national security levels is embarrassing as a standard as an Israeli. Now, I don't blame you. You're gonna have to adapt right now and to raise your game. Same thing like in Israel, because you're gonna start having more and more intifada revolutions like this. And when you start having more and more of your children and innocent people getting, blown and killed in the streets, intifada revolutions and stuff like that, you're gonna have to start coming to Israel and says, teach us, how do you do it? What should we do to maintain a proper life, a proper society and freedom, and not to overrun democracy and freedom, but also save our people, because we allowed these Muslim jihadists in our country, and now our country is not safe anymore. Europe is already in that place. I'm here in Christmas is coming. I'm here in Germany, and I've never seen so many cement barricades and anti-terror measures around Christmas markets. It's going crazy. Every year it's getting worse and worse. They need to work so hard to defend their Christians in Christmas and other holidays. In some countries already in Europe, they don't even allow them to put Christmas lights because it's offensive. And, Christians are being targeted in Christian countries. So Europe is already there, but Europe in general is just embarrassingly asleep that they will not wake up until it's too late. Germany might be. I'm in Germany. I've seen things like today I had a Jewish friend of mine that called me because some yoga teacher activist walked outside of his place, hummus place, and shouted at him, "Free Palestine!" and start shouting at him, "F you guys are this, genocide." Started just shouting at him. He called me, and I told him, call the police, man. Call the police. And he said, they're not going to do anything. So, well, at least they will have for their statistics in the future when they want to study what went wrong, they will know that the warning was written all over the wall. Call the police, warn about this guy. He's calling genocidal. Free Palestine is a genocidal call. It's a call to eliminate, he says, from the river to the sea and stuff like that. It's literally a call to eliminate the state of Israel. Don't be fooled. There's nothing about Free Palestine that involves coexistence. It's nothing. Anyone in the West that believes that is a fool. So call the police, and he called, and the police actually went and started checking, because there was a video that I made with this guy. His name is Eldao, a good friend of mine. And I made a video when my mom came to Germany, and we went leaves, and he's been telling me, I really want to, try your mom's food. And I invited him. We did some barbecue, invited a lot of the Israeli Jewish friends, Christian friends, everybody. I had people coming from every religion almost and just joining us. And we made a video, and I put it on my Instagram, was just talking about peace and about vine leaves. And that guy was trolling it, just talking a lot of cow poop on it. So anyway, he went and threatened, and now German police is after him, and I hope they arrest him and deport him. I think that's the right thing to do. You don't want these people in your country. So Germany maybe is waking up. Most of the world is not. Now, when it comes to that, someone like these Afghanis right now, save our heroes, it's sad to see that even the good ones from Afghanistan that are trying to run away from the Taliban and from radical Islam are going to get hurt by the bad ones that are going to come and stain their name and destroy everything for them. But with that said, I want to add something else that is very concerning. And again, I'm not trying to troll any religion. I'm literally trying to give you from the knowledge that I have coming from these world of special forces, of, covert operations behind enemy lines and all these things, and also studying that religion. I was a negotiator in the army. I also studied that religion in depth and psychology. So I think I know a thing or two that maybe people living in the West might not know about that. Given the fact also that I'm a Druze and I grew up in an Arabic house and I speak fluent Arabic. If you brought a good, kind Muslim into your country and he completely assimilated with Western civilization and values, and just that's his faith, good for him. People can, choose to practice any faith they want. What is the problem? The problem is when things don't go well. If he is still a devoted Muslim, let's say someone is a devoted Christian, devoted Jew, devoted Muslim, very peaceful, they have a job, they have, financial stability, they have a family, they have love, they have respect, status, all the Maslow kind of pyramid of needs is answered. Now things go bad for all three of them. Go really bad. They lose their job, they lose their wife, they lose their friends. The wife betrayed him, cheated on him with his best friend. He got kicked out of his job. His former employees that said they're going to always be there for him are not helping him. His friends that he counted on them are just left him now that he have no money, no respect. Like literally the guy hit rock bottom. And in that moment, when you're fragile, it is often that someone turns to a religion Just turn to your God, turn to your religion, or you meet someone that is a preacher. Now, the problem is that Islam, when people become fragile, most likely usually end up radicalizing them. Christianity will humble you, bring you on your knees, and maybe make you even happier because you get closer to God and you realize, vanity of vanities, I don't need these things. I have God. Thank God. Judaism is the same. Let's remember, Judaism brought Christianity. So the very, very clear values. Islam will suddenly come and tell you, are you a good Muslim? All the things that are happening to you because you're not a good Muslim. What do you think? You're living among these kuffars. You're eating their food, listening to the music. You need to go back to Muhammad. You need to become a shaheed. You need to do a jihad on the infidels. And that is the default setting. Islam is a default setting. Not all Muslims are violent. Islam is violent. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. There's things that are literally, again, I don't want to get canceled. I don't want my show to be taken down like last time. But I'm just trying to tell you the truth, guys. These things are there. That's how it is. So when you bring 20, 30,000 Muslim migrants into your country, even if you vetted them and cleared them out, their religion holds in it the chances of radicalization that you can't control. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day he will hit rock bottom and then he will go to his book or meet a preacher or an imam. And that imam is not going to need to do mental and spiritual and theological backflips in his brain to come and tell him that the solution is to go and take down the infidels and this, unholy nation, because that's how they see Christianity and Western civilizations. And I think this guy, I'm not so sure what was his motives. Not so sure what was his motives. Was it political? Was it religious? What is it? Insanity? It could be also insanity, but he was heard shouting Allahu Akbar when he was doing that, which many times in Islam, that's, a battle chant and also prayer. By the way, it's also a prayer that a lot of the jihadists use when they're fighting. What do you think they're shooting above their heads? It's not only because they're amateurs. They are, many of them. But often you see them shooting above their heads, shouting Allahu Akbar, because they do believe that God will direct the bullets to go and hit the infidels. and even if they don't aim, because they're afraid to put their head up because they get, sniped down. So in Syria, we see that. In Afghanistan, we see that. In Palestine, you see that. A lot of them, that's literally a fighting technique. And they have another interesting fighting technique. Most people don't know. It's called istashhad. I don't know if you ever heard of that. But Western civilization, when we're trained, U.S. Special Forces, and not only Special Forces, U.S. Forces, Israeli forces, European forces. If your buddy gets hit and he's down, you are to give suppressing fire, covering fire, and try to bring him there. That famous story of the Navy SEALs that was in Afghanistan, I think, who his brother, or in Iraq, one of his teammates fell down and he literally got shot a few times, kept shooting, dragged the guy, got shot in his chin, came up, kept dragging his friend to safety while fighting, and he's still alive. I don't remember his name. So that is the values that they teach you in Christian countries, Western countries, Jewish countries. No one's left behind, and you risk your life to bring your friends. You jump on a grenade when a grenade is down. That was literally part of the training that we had. Training you to jump over a grenade. Think about that. But because the training is, if you see a grenade rolling on the floor and you and all your friends are going to die right now, the most heroic thing to do is to sacrifice yourself so they don't die. So in the radical jihad Muslim world, their strategy is called istashhad. If your friends get shot in the leg, many times the jihadists will run to him and he'll be screaming, and they'll come and tell him, istashhad. Istashhad means become a shaheed, just kill yourself. And we'll take his ammunition and loot him while he's screaming for help. And there was a video surfaced from Syria, from the fightings, that saw a few cases where the ISIS, Al-Qaeda, or the government people did that to people who got shot in the leg. Like the guy's like, why istashhad? I got shot in the leg. I just need you to cover for me, man. And there was this istashhad running around looting him, because they have no value for human life. So when you have societies like that have these kind of mentalities, and you just welcome them into your country, what do you think? And in that case of Afghanistan, like it or not, and I wish if I had the chance with a click of a button right now to solve all the misery that is happening in Afghanistan, I'll do it. Since the Taliban took over again, all these little girls lost the dream, that they had forever acquiring education, getting a degree, in general, just growing up to be a beautiful teenager that one day will meet a boy and fall in love with, and all these stuff. All the women were not allowed to go to school anymore. Everybody's getting covered. So much oppression against women and children and human rights, any right you can imagine. So I wish you can solve that problem in Afghanistan. But let's remind everybody also that the problem in Afghanistan is not because there's like 5, 6 really evil people. It's because there's a lot of evil people there that are enforcing this. One of the biggest misconceptions that people are not understanding nowadays regarding the Muslim, the Arab world in general, that part of the problem in these countries is because they're a shithole. Forgive my French, literally. And it's a cow poop hole, not because there's evil, capitalist, white supremacists, or I don't know what, that took over. It's because there's radical religious idiots who are living there with usually low IQ that keep marrying each other and keep killing everyone around them. And they are running the country. And every once in a while, one of them will go to power in the name of his brother that brought him in, and then he will be taken down by his own people because they see him as not radical enough. In Syria right now, one of the complaints that about 25 different terrorist organizations there, except from the government. The government is ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and there's about 25 more terrorist organizations in Syria. It's like Israel have startups, Syria have terrorist organizations. So these 25 terrorist organizations are complaining on Jolani that he is not radical enough because he is not helping them kill the Alawites and the Druze and the Christians and the Kurds and the Yazidis enough, because he's holding him a little bit back now. He's not really holding him back, but he's not like supporting them. And the reason is because when he tried to support them and he sent his tanks, Israel took down these tanks. And the artillery, Israel took down the artillery and told them, hands off the Druze, you're not going to go and massacre minorities. So he can't really support them. And he's also trying to get money from the US and from the world, so he can't really go full on with his jihadist agenda. So they complain that he's not radical enough. So a lot of these countries just simply have a lot of bad people in them. And that is something that is hard for the West to wrap their head around. A lot of people in the West, and the more that I live now in the West, and I live in Germany, sometimes I meet people that haven't seen the things that I've seen. And I tell myself, wow, they're so sheltered. There's no way that I can explain to them what kind of evil exists in this world. There's no way. There's no way. Like, if the biggest evil thing that they saw is what the TV tells them. Yeah, Donald Trump is bad, or Israel is bad. Like, they haven't really, or the neighbor is just a douchebag. Like, they haven't really seen places like Afghanistan, like Palestine, like Syria, like some parts of Lebanon, some parts of Jordan, some parts of Egypt. Haven't seen these things. Like, witness it firsthand, seen the horrors and the human wickedness that is happening on a daily basis there. And for them, it's just hard to realize the dangers of that world. And they just keep again and again falling for believing that there's so many innocent people there, and that they will probably change if they will get the chance that we have. If he will get the chance to come and go to a gay club in Miami, maybe he will stop being a jihadist. Stuff like that. Like, there's people that literally think like that. This is so delusional for someone that is coming from the Middle East. Anyway, I spoke enough. I just wanted to again say, someone here in the comments, by the way, made a very good comment, and I want to read it. He says, I'm a minute or so behind you. This is Michael Crosby 7023. I'll bet that his mag was out of the gun. Back when I was deployed, I only had the occasion to have my mag no round chamber once, or no round in the chamber once. So this could be also that he's trying to put his mag in the in his device. I don't want YouTube to get angry at me. Last time they literally took a video when I was showing a snippet from the news showing, Hamas, and they said that I'm trying to promote gun violence and I don't know what. And I had to explain to them, no, I was literally showing an image that was in the media because they released the hostages. So obviously there was Hamas people around them, and obviously they were holding, you know, means of no self-defense on them. I was not promoting anything. So anyway, he is here, even if he's trying to change a magazine, which I think in general, armed forces in combat ready dangerous areas, which soon to be every city in the United States. I'm not kidding, guys. Everywhere that accepted Islamic migration have brought war zones into their cities. Everywhere. They didn't need that in Europe. They did not need cement barricades, doomsday zombie apocalypse barricades in Germany or any city in Europe to protect the Christmas markets until Islam came. Jews came, they didn't need that. Christians came from other countries, Poland, I don't know what, they didn't need that. Muslims came from Syria, they need that. They came from Afghanistan, they need that. From Somalia, doesn't matter where they came, they need that suddenly. So it's very clear to know that once you bring Muslim migrations into your country, you have made your cities less safe and brought a battle zone. So police officers, armed forces need to have, in my opinion, need to have their magazine inside their weapon. They need to. I'm not saying bullet in the chamber. Most people are not trained enough. They'll end up shooting their leg, literally. So at least that. So if he's running right now and is not in, still, I would say running away from the guy, turning your back to him and trying to reload is not the smartest thing to do. There's a very simple rule when it comes to these engagements. First of all, you never want to lose sight with the enemy, because once you turn around back, if you don't see him, he have the advantage on you because he sees you. You don't see him anymore. You need to look for him. Second of all, you don't want to break contact when you're, if there is a cover right now, you go for the cover, great. But in that moment, when this guy is literally with a loaded gun in front of him, all this running, he could have just shot him in the back. He was just not aiming at him. So probably was better to either charge on him or reload on the spot and take him down. I showed the video in the beginning of this video where you can see that he's running away and then coming back, and there was a few seconds which could have been the crucial seconds of just offloading a few more bullets into his friends. Either way, guys, I just want to remind everyone, pray for the wounded, pray for the victims, for their families. My prayers, it's heartbreaking that in the time of Thanksgiving towards Christmas, there's families in America that will not be able to enjoy this time with their loved ones who did nothing wrong but try to defend their country and ended up being killed by radical invaders that came from other countries with other religions and other values of life, who came and did that to your people. So I'm very, very sorry. And I wish that America will find a good way to solve this problem. I think Donald Trump in general is in the right direction, especially when it comes to reverse migration and these things. There's no way around it, guys. Literally, like it or not, there's no way. If you want an easier solution, you should have done it 10 years ago. I also want to remind, if you watch until now, please go and check my Patreon, and you can find direct practical ways to support my channel. If you find my content worthy, I'm going to try to keep giving you these kind of updates whenever I can, live updates and non-live updates. Also, don't forget to do like, share, subscribe. This helps the channel keep growing. My goal right now, humble goal, is to try to reach, I don't know, how many subscribers do you have? Let's check. I'm terrible at these things. I'm standing at 57.8 thousand subscribers, which is more than I ever thought that I would have. So I'm super grateful. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, I started it because I was trying to help a friend build an orphanage in Africa. And someone came and told me that I reminded him of a famous vlogger. I didn't know who he was because I never had YouTube. I was never on social media. I just finished my military service. I barely have a single picture of my military service as well because we're not allowed to have cameras on us. And I was just not a big fan. I didn't even have an email. I was like a ghost back then. And then I opened my first email at the age of 23. So he told me, open a YouTube channel and you can help bring awareness. You have this vlogger vibe. You remind me of a famous vlogger, yada, yada. So I opened my YouTube channel, and I think for several years I had 23 subscribers. So I never thought that I'll reach this channel to where it is here. And I never thought that I'll be talking to you also about these things because that was never on my agenda. I did this because I felt that this is the right thing to do, to defend the values that we're standing on, Western values, Jewish, Christian, Druze values, and to just be able to make the world a better place one video at a time. I said it as a joke in one of my descriptions, but I really mean it. So if you think that my content is worthy, I'll appreciate if you help this channel keep growing so we can reach more people and have this voice impact more people with proper, I think, education. But until then, guys, I want to give you one last advice, and that is just don't do anything stupid. In general, don't do anything that I would do. See you next time.